Hey guys, so today we'll be using our pistols in AR and we're gonna show you what to do and what not to do. First of all, we're using P250. P250, you just have to crouch down when they're like super far away or when they're not looking at you at all. And if they're like staring at you, it's like 1-to-1 fight. Try moving left and right, avoid being shot. And like, just use it like an SMG, like a P90. Personally, I like P250 a lot because it's very balanced, and if you know how to use it well, no weapon is bad. Boom boom boom. Alright, now moving on to GSR. Alright, firstly for GSR, it used to be one of my favorite pistols, but now it's more of P250. The thing is, its damage is high, relatively high, but the ammo capacity is extremely low. And if like, you can barely clutch a 3v1 without reloading once. But the thing is, if I pick it up from the floor, I'll just use it all the way. One tip for GSR is, if you're in an eco round, just buy a GSR and a KEF. It'll do you well. It's cheap, costs $1,600 and it can do you pretty well. Moving on to MR. MR is an extremely strong weapon during eco round, and it's a 2-shot kill with or without KEF. Personally, I don't really use MR much because my aim isn't that good, as you can see. I can only kill bots. Other than that, if I find an MR on the floor, I'll just pick it up and give it to my friends who can use it, because it's the same thing as when you pick up an op from the floor, or U ratio. Give it to someone on your team, as most likely there's like probably one dude on your team that can use it really well. Moving on to Deagle. The thing I don't like about Deagle is the fact that its recoil is so high and that the ammo capacity is a bit low. If you ask me, I'd rather buy an MR because I mean, like, there's not really much difference between the MR and the Deagle except for the recoil and the ammo capacity. Okay, and now we're moving on to Dual MTX. This is by far one of my most favorite pistols. As you can see, its ammo capacity is extremely high, 24 bullets per mag, and as well as its ammo capacity, its damage is also relatively high. All you have to do is just spray the piston down and just control the recoil. As you can see, there's a little bit of recoil, but it's not the highest in the game, so it's still relatively easy to handle. If you ask me, I'd say if you're an eco round, you could just buy a Kevlar as well as a Dual MTX. It could serve as a cheap and good SMG. As you can see, it serves the purpose. It kills and does a lot of damage. Good and well balanced. Well done, critical ops. Moving on to the AR section, the first gun we have is SA58. It's a pretty good eco round weapon if you ask me. It costs 1,800 and it's a good substitute for Vector. To me personally, I kind of switched from Vector to SA58 from my previous video, as you can see. It's just because the SA58 is a pretty much better long range weapon and its ammo capacity is also a lot higher than Vector, as you can tell, and the damage is also relatively high. If you ask me, for $100 more, I say it's a good trade. Okay, now moving on to M4. Without KEF, you can just easily tap someone, but with KEF, you leave him at around 10 HP. So personally for M4, I like using it at long range areas and long range maps. For example, for like Port, Raid, and maybe Plaza. If you ask me, I recommend M4 to new players as it doesn't have recoil at all, and its accuracy is extremely high. Although it has lower damage than the other weapons, I say $2,500 for this gun. I say it's pretty worth it. Okay, moving on to AK. Haha, it's the most well-known gun in the whole of critical ops. Almost everybody knows how to use this gun. Maybe not control the recoil, but at least they know about it. A lot of people usually think that AK is extremely hard to use as they don't know the recoil pattern, but it's actually quite easy. Just keep practicing and shooting at the wall and try controlling the aim. After a while, you get a hang of it and your aim will be probably as good as mine, or even better one day. One tip that I still use up to now is if, for example, your aim suddenly like spikes out of control and the recoil just goes crazy, what I do is I just shoot burst fires. It's pretty good as you can stop the recoil pattern from reoccurring and becoming worse, and well, it's just a lot more accurate, saving your life, probably, and your KD too. Okay, moving on to HK. I recently heard that it got buffed by critical ops, and I think it really got it. Its damage is so much higher and its ammo capacity increased from 18 to 20 quite a while back. Now I feel that a lot of people have been using HK because of its damage and how fast it kills. I have a feeling that HK still won't be as popular, as AK will still forever be the most balanced weapon. Its rate of fire is extremely low, and there's a chance of you missing almost all your shots, unless you are extremely accurate and you tap. One tip about using HK is just spray them down, because the rate of fire is so low. Alright, and moving on to AUG. As you can see from this footage above, AUG is somehow buffed, I think. The damage is a lot higher from last time, as I could remember, and it's extremely accurate. The good thing about it is the same as Vector and GSR. All these weapons are silenced, and it means that when you shoot at a wall or something, it wouldn't register in the map, thus making enemies harder to find you unless they hear you. One disadvantage about AUG, however, is the fact that it reloads super slowly and the takeout time for the gun is also very slow. If I were you, I would suggest not to buy this weapon, as it's not worth the $3,200. Lastly, we have the SG555. Its damage is actually super high and it takes around 2 body shots to kill. It has no recoil at all, almost no recoil at least. I would usually only use SG551 if I'm throwing the last round when I'm just about to finish the ranked match, as you can find from the previous videos that I made. Alright, and that's it. That's the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a like and consider subscribing. Bye bye.